I'm going to tell you something, and chances are you won't believe it. Right now, even as you're listening to this, your brain is tricking you because it never taught you the difference between being tired and being sleep deprived. Think about it. Have you ever had a night where you slept very little? Maybe 4, 5 hours. But the next day, everything was amazing? Your mind was sharp. You felt energized, like your body had quietly decided, we're fine today. And then another night comes. You sleep a full 8 hours. You even wake up before your alarm. And yet you spend the entire day feeling like half your brain is switched off. If that sounds familiar, you're about to learn a truth your brain has been hiding from you for years. Because sleep isn't what you think it is. And once you learn this, there's no going back. Most people think of sleep like charging a battery, like a phone. You plug it in, you wait until it's full, you unplug it, you use it. But your brain isn't a phone. Throughout the night, it splits into two very different identities, and you have no idea this is happening. The first identity we'll call the guard, the second, the architect. Every single night, these two take turns, and which one is active, at which moment, decides exactly how you'll feel the next morning. I'm willing to bet you've never thought about this before, because almost nobody talks about it. Here's how it works. In the first hours after you fall asleep, the guard takes over. Its job is simple: scan the surroundings. Some deep, primitive part of your brain still believes you're sleeping in a cave, checking whether there's a predator nearby. That's why in those first 2 or 3 hours, the slightest sound, the smallest change in light can snap you awake instantly. This isn't a flaw in you, it's the guard doing exactly what it's built to do. But at some point, usually somewhere in the middle of the night, the guard quietly steps down and hands a shift over to the architect. The architect's job is completely different. While you sleep, it repairs the walls that got torn down during the day. Not physical walls, the walls in your memory, in your immune system, in your emotional balance. And while the architect works, you barely respond to the outside world at all, because the guard isn't watching anymore. Now, here's the problem nobody tells you about. If you go to bed at a different time every night, that handover moment between the guard stepping down and the architect stepping in shifts every single time. One night, you're in bed by 11 and the handover happens around 1:30. Another night, you don't get in until 1 a.m., and suddenly the handover doesn't happen until 3:30. Your brain can never lock that moment in place. And that means the architect gets less time. Every night, a little less. So even if you technically sleep 8 hours, the window the architect actually has to work in keeps shrinking. You slept a lot, but almost nothing got repaired. And there's real science behind this. It's called the cortisol suppression window. Cortisol, your stress hormone, naturally drops to its lowest point in the first half of the night. And the architect can only work effectively while cortisol is that low. So if your bedtime keeps shifting, that low cortisol window stops lining up with your actual sleep hours. The architect shows up to work and the materials simply aren't ready yet. This is exactly why sleep researchers care less about what time you go to bed and more about whether that time stays the same. Someone who sleeps at 11 on weekdays and 2 a.m. on weekends will sleep far worse than someone who goes to bed at 12:30 every single night without exception, even if the total hours are identical. Now, here's the part almost nobody knows. Even after the guard has handed control to the architect, certain things can pull it back. Mid-repair, in the middle of the night, you can accidentally call the guard back to duty. There are 4 ways this happens. The first, eating in the middle of the night. Open the fridge at 2 a.m., eat something, and your digestive system switches on. Your brain reads this as no danger, but energy is being spent somewhere. And the guard interprets that as a kind of alarm. It comes back, briefly, which is exactly why a midnight snack so often leaves you more tired the next morning. It's not your stomach, it's the guard, back on watch. The second, electronic interference right there in the room. Just having your phone nearby, screen off, completely silent, is sometimes enough. A faint vibration, a sliver of light leaking through. Your brain keeps sensing changes in the environment even while you're fully asleep, even when you never notice a thing. The third, a partner's movement or a pet. The guard is always quietly tracking the presence of another living thing nearby. If the person next to you keeps shifting and turning, the guard never fully lets go. It stays half on duty all night, which is exactly why some couples sleep better in separate beds. And there's nothing strange about that. It's simply the guard doing what it does. And the fourth, the least known of all, is sound recognition during sleep. If your home has a constant background sound, a ticking clock, the hum of an air conditioner, your brain quietly files it away as safe background noise. But if that sound suddenly stops, the silence itself is what wakes the guard. That's why some people can't sleep in a perfectly quiet hotel room, but sleep fine in a noisy home. The problem was never silence, it's unexpected change. So, What does the architect actually need to do its job well? Three things. First, protein. A protein-rich dinner gives your body the raw materials it needs for deep repair, hours before you even fall asleep. Go to bed on empty carbs instead, and the architect shows up to work with nothing to build with. The job gets done, but only half finished. Second, magnesium, a mineral that's critical for muscle relaxation and a calm nervous system. People who are low in it tend to wake up again and again through the night because the body simply can't fully let go while the architect is trying to work. And third, the one almost nobody mentions, is the duration of darkness. Not just darkness itself, it's not enough for the room to be dark. The darkness has to stay unbroken. Get up in the night, flip on the bathroom light, even for a few seconds, and you can reset the architect's entire process, right back to zero. Which is why switching to a dim, warm orange nightlight instead of the bathroom light makes a far bigger difference than people expect. So how do you actually use all of this? First, set an anchor time. Wake up at the same time every single day, weekends included. Your bedtime can drift a little here and there, but your wake up time should never move because it's your wake up time, not your bedtime. That actually regulates when the guard hands off to the architect. Second, reassure the guard before you sleep. Since it's always scanning for threats, even something as small as checking that the door is locked or the window is shut sends your brain a quiet signal. We're safe here, and the guard hands off to the architect that much faster. Third, the middle of the night rule. If you wake up at night, don't turn on the light. Don't check your phone. Don't eat. Just stay in the dark and breathe. That's the only thing standing between you and accidentally calling the guard back. So, here's what I told you today. Something you probably won't hear anywhere else. Your sleep was never really about how many hours you get. It's about when the guard and the architect switch shifts, and how many times, without realizing it, you call the guard back over the course of one night. And here's the strange part. Once you start noticing the handover, the moment the guard steps back and the architect steps in, you start noticing everything else too. The nights you wake up groggy, even after 8 hours. The nights you wake up sharp, after barely 6. It was never random. It was the guard and the architect, quietly negotiating every single night without ever asking your permission. Most people will read all of this, nod, and change nothing. Tomorrow they'll go to bed at midnight. The day after, at 2. And they'll keep wondering why some mornings feel like waking up underwater. But you're not most people. You're still here, at the end of this video. Which means some part of you already knows. The fix was never complicated. It was just hiding in plain sight, behind two characters nobody ever taught you about. So, tonight, just do one thing. Whatever time you decide to wake up tomorrow, don't change it all week. That's all. And let me know, in your own night, who's winning. Is it the guard or the architect? I read every answer. The next story might just come from yours.